Hello and welcome to a very special edition of Football and Grits, the Athletics SEC football podcast on the Andy Staples Show and Friends feed. I am your host, as always, David Ubben, with my co-host, Brody Miller. We have a special guest, Liam Coen, offensive coordinator, new/old offensive coordinator for the Kentucky Wildcats. Liam, I got to start here. When I talk to coaches, you always hear them, I want to get to the pros. I want to get to the pros. College is tough. The hours are tough. You know, calling teenagers, recruiting. You're one of the few that has gone to the pros and come back. What brought you back? Not only to college football, of course, that's the big picture question, but to Kentucky specifically.
Yeah, thanks again, guys, for having me on. I really appreciate you guys taking the time. This is a unique place in my mind. Coach Stoops 2 years ago, gave me a phone call and kind of out of the blue, and did his homework and ended up hiring me and giving me an opportunity to come call plays in the SEC. That was a huge leap of faith on his part, a lot of trust. And when you have a coach, your boss, who believes in you and truly sees the vision for his program, and you can get all on board with that, that was really cool to be a part of. And then, Sean calls me back, and after they go and win a Super Bowl at a place that truly got me involved in the profession at a high level. Sean took a chance on me coming from an FCS school as a assistant position coach in 2018. I felt like I also owed him the opportunity to try to come back and help him and help Matthew Stafford and get to know all those guys and be with some of the guys that I had a great relationship with prior. So you end up doing that, and it didn't work out. We didn't have a great season. Things with the injury bug, all those things hit you. And then you start to realize, as much as I loved going back and helping Sean and being a part of that and really learning again, that was the big goal of going back to LA, was to continue to really learn and grow my football knowledge. You learn you really miss calling plays, and you really missed kind of running the show. And Coach Stoops does an unbelievable job here of letting us coaches coach and truly letting us be ourselves. And so from a professional standpoint, that was probably the reasons and things like that to make both of the moves. But really, personally, my son was born here almost 2 years ago now. The culture, the family aspect, the community. And I honestly missed a little bit the relationships that you do build and the impact that you have on 17 to 21, 22-year-old kids' lives. I loved working with the Rams, the pros, but at some parts, I just didn't feel like I was making a difference in the world.
What percentage did the bourbon quality play?
I'm not a big bourbon guy. I just never –
Fair enough.
I don't know enough. I need to be educated a little bit more on the whole bourbon thing. But
it's like a world, man. It's like once you're into it, you have to go all the way into it. So you got to choose. Yeah, absolutely.
I never really quite got into it, but the place, though, Lexington, the people, the fan base, the players, the coaches, loved LA, loved the Los Angeles Rams is the unbelievable organization, top to bottom. Les Snead, Kevin Demoff, all right, Tony Pastors, Sean, the whole thing is big time. And they gave me a great opportunity, but I just felt like maybe something was missing. Something was missing in kind of the day-to-day. I'm still feel like I'm young enough to be able to pour into these kids and try to make a difference in their lives.
Mm-hmm. You guys, we'll get to you guys' future in a second, but I think it's draft season, Liam. You've got a very interesting perspective, I'm sure, on Will Levis, and I find we've talked a lot about him on this show. And not only him and his talents and what he's done, but the sort of discourse around him, the draft conversation around him is very interesting. Because you look at where he's projected to draft, you look at the production, and people say something's not. I don't get it. There's a large sect of college football and NFL fans that are like, I don't know about this guy. I don't know about this guy. For you, from your perspective, what do you see what do you think when you hear that conversation, and what do the people who don't get Will Levis not seeing that you've seen?
Right. I look at Will's body of work, and you really think about he played 2 years truly playing quarterback. 2. Before that, he was a glorified running back.
Mm-hmm. Penn State wouldn't let him throw.
Wouldn't let him throw. I mean, it's crazy to me. But hey, it didn't work out. And he's played 2 years in a high level pocket and playing the position, and he can walk out there and operate everything underneath the center, which the NFL game is still played underneath the center. I don't care, 32 teams, they're all getting underneath the center and being able to operate. And Oscar, alert, all the things that you need to be able to do, he can do. He'll walk in and do right now. You don't have to teach him any of that. And by the way, he's got a rocket ship for an arm. So
it doesn't hurt.
It doesn't hurt. Yeah. And he's only played 2 years of ball. And he's going to be the first one in the building and the last one to leave. And you're never going to have to, hey, we need more, bro. We need more out of you today. If anything, it's more, hey, we got to hone in this talent, hone in, the way you work and the way you operate to slow yourself down a little bit. If you look at Daniel Jones, what was Daniel Jones's last year at Duke's stats?
Not going to jump off the page at you, I think.
And what was Josh Allen's?
Not good.
Not very
actively bad, I would say.
So, yes, it matters. No question. Your tape is your resume. I'm completely on board with that. I just feel like, personally, Will's best football is ahead of him still. And if he can get into the right situation with the right guys around him, the right coaching staff, there's an enormous talent there that I think he just can really continue to get better.
Now, okay, back to you. I mean, so, an NFL guy coming to college bringing ideas, that's something, we've seen, right? But now you're in a situation of you went back to NFL. I'm curious, what did you almost bring to LA from your experience to UK? And now coming back a second time, how different is the Liam Coen that you're bringing in now compared to 2 years ago?
Yeah, we had to operate a little bit differently in 2021 at Kentucky than we did in Los Angeles. Just different personnel, different people, different volume that the guys can really handle. The amount of time that you have to meet with them is not even close. So we did have to maybe trim the inventory of what we were doing here at Kentucky versus what we were doing in LA. But from there to go back to Los Angeles, it was more familiarity, right? I knew all the offense from LA. I had a really strong relationship with Sean to be able to help him, in terms of scripting and everything he can do and installation. So that was a great experience to be able to go back and also then go learn what I missed from the Super Bowl run. What were they doing in the Super Bowl run on offense that I wasn't a part of? Yeah. So I was able to go learn some of those things. And a lot of that came to do with Matthew Stafford and being able to throw the football around the yard, which was great. I got to learn more. But then to come back as well is adversity. Dealing with adversity. We lost all those linemen, had all those injuries. Well, we have to figure out a new way to win almost every week and trying to deal with adversity, but also, hey, each week we might have to game plan differently or try to put our guys in the best position to be successful. It's not always about the scheme. It's about the players and what they can handle. And that's helped me with this transition back, maybe even kind of deloading some of the install and plays that we put in to be able to help these guys be able to go out and execute at a high level.
And now I got to ask, okay, just non-football. You are a Northeasterner, right? And I'm from Jersey, so I understand the transition from North to South. And then you spent a year in Lexington. What is the place that you are excited to go back to now that you're back? Do you have a spot?
I love Drake's and Malone's out here, man. It's just one of the best restaurants in the area. Yeah. Bruce and Melinda Drake are the two of the best human beings out there, and they really help us out so much. They're so good to us, and Melinda helped sell my house. That type of place, the type of place like that. The golf courses are amazing out here as well, and Keeneland's a complete, absolutely, unbelievable opportunity. Good, really good deal that we go to, and but really, it's the people that make this place. You go anywhere and, hey, coach, good luck and welcome to have you back. And it's not about ego. Yeah, is it nice? Sure. But it's really cool being at a place that cares, that loves sports, loves athletics, and loves football. And I'm from the Northeast, like you said, and then went out to LA. LA, they're not, well, hey, coach, I mean, they don't know who I am. It's not about me, but it's about the culture, the place that being in a place that really cares is really fun for us as a family.
Yeah, Liam, I'm told it just means more. I've heard that. I've heard that a time or two.
Also, by the way, the show is sponsored by Drake and Melinda's. Just want to make sure we get that.
Appreciate it.
Liam, you're in a really interesting personnel space moving forward with Kentucky. I think we all saw, Barry Brown, all the promise that he had last year. You get the jewel of the transfer portal in Devin Leary. What do you make of this group that has obviously changed over, but I don't think anybody's arguing the potential? When you look at Kentucky's offense in 2023, what are your expectations?
Yeah, we might, like you mentioned, we have to be a little bit different than we were in 2021, right? We had a lot of veteran offensive linemen 2021 year, right? We had a quarterback that could really run around and do some things. The quarterback run game in 2021 with Will was a huge advantage for us. And then we had two, Wan'Dale Robinson, Josh Ali could really make plays. And then Chris Rodriguez hand the ball off to, and you're getting 4. But as you guys mentioned, we have these couple of young receivers out there that are explosive. A quarterback that has lived in the gun and really is more of a surgeon at quarterback to be able to pick you apart and play the position, forward facing. We got a new running back. It's just a little bit different. We're working on some of the things that we did in 2021 that we did well, but also how do we incorporate maybe some of the things Devin's done well in NC State and some of the things that we learned from LA last year with Matthew in the drop back pass game. So trying to implement some of those schemes while also not overloading some of these young receivers as they really start to get more involved in the offense. It can be challenging as you go and trying to be able to simplify this thing. But we do have some talent. It's more so just about really seeing, can we strain all the time and do the things that we're asking them to do right all the time and go play with your hair on fire.
Is there anything you learned from working with Will as a transfer that you can almost apply to working with Devin, or is it different because obviously Devin has been starting for a while?
No, it's actually, there's a lot of parallels because, right, Penn State and us at Kentucky, there's going to be carryover of concepts, right? There's naturally all of college football, all of football in general, there's natural overlap, but they might have just called something a different word. Yeah. And so then we can connect that and say, hey, Devin, have you ever run something like this? Yeah, well, we called it, old brown shoe. And we call it, blue shoe. It doesn't, it doesn't matter. That's a good way for us to be able to connect the dots on some of the things maybe that he's done, that we do, and to be able to kind of merge that thing together. It kind of expedites some of the learning process and the learning curve.
What could Devin do that has separated him and obviously made him so coveted when he went in the portal from a guy that obviously has coached QBs? What do you see in him that makes him special? He's
cerebral. He can see the game and process things at a high level. Arm strength, extreme good arm strength, extremely good arm strength. I mean, he can push the ball down the field, accurate with good touch underneath, but it's his processing of the game that helps him play ahead. He can be ahead of the game a little bit, almost, like Matthew Stafford. There was times that he'd come off the sideline and he would tell me what all 11 on the defense did on that play. And I'm just like blown away. I'm looking at this high-low over here, and he's telling me, oh, well, the right defensive end came off the field. I saw this. I'm like, whoa, geez. How about this high-low over here? But he saw that a lot of the really good ones can see it all without it affecting their play, right? They use it to an advantage. Well, Devin does see a lot of things and can help anticipate some of his decisions and movements that he makes. Now also, hey, now how do we, hone that in at this level and at this point and where we are in the install? Hey, sometimes seeing a little is better than seeing a lot.
I can't even do that on Madden with the overhead view. How much of that can be taught, and how much of that is like they used to talk about like Lance Armstrong with his resting heart rate? How much of that is innate versus like you can learn to see all 11?
It's pretty innate in a lot of ways. I think you look at experience obviously helps. Both, you look at Matthew Stafford, 13-year NFL vet. I mean, he's seen so much ball that he can accumulate those reps and use them to experience. I'm not saying Devin and him are similar in a lot of ways, but in terms of Devin seeing a lot of ball, and he can help teach some of the ball to the receivers and to the other position groups and to the other quarterbacks, to where he can help out with some of the technique and fundamentals and decision making. He does a nice job of canceling things out pre-snap. He can say no right now based on the look of the defense and be able to help and get through his progressions, which I think helps him play fast.
I'm always interested to ask offensive play callers this. I mean, you said you're gonna have to change some things. You have different personnel. Like, how much of you are you the kind of coach who wants to, like, you have your system and you want everyone working in tandem, or are you the kind of guy who wants to, like, I like figuring out how to put this new puzzle together because it's different? Is that the fun part?
That is the fun part.
Yeah.
It's never. To me, we have a base foundation and core beliefs in the way that we want to play the game, and is in alignment with our team's culture and the way Coach Stoops wants this program to be run. But it's always about players, not plays. It's never going to be, well, he can't run this play or he can't run that route. Well, how can we help him do that? Or if it's not the best thing for him to do, what's the best thing that he does do well? And let's try to work on that. Yeah. So it's never going to be about plays over players. How many times can we get the ball into our best players' hands? As many times as possible, because typically that's how you win the game.
As somebody who was an outsider to his program, why do you think that Mark has had so much success at a place that hasn't enjoyed a ton of success historically?
Consistency in terms of his demeanor, the people that he brings into the program, both coaches, players, staff, everybody. Typically, like when I got here, everybody was very much in alignment, I felt like, with what the goals of the program were, what's the culture of the program. It's not a revolving door so much because there's every year's a new team, but the foundation of this program is built on toughness and on hard nose and on blue collar, being to come to work every day, and we're going to outwork you, out tough you. And that's something that we're continuing to work on right now. But he's a player's coach that can also come in and he knows when it's not right, and he'll let them know. But these kids seem to really love to play for him, which I would too. I love working for him. I mean, he does all the right things. He lets you coach, but he instills belief in both the players and coaches, which is really cool.
Mm-hmm. Well, Liam, I'll let you go on this. I'm always curious when I talk to coaches, after you have, looked at tape of Kentucky's next opponents for the next 10 years and called every recruit you guys are recruiting for the next 5 years. You got some time at home and you fire up your favorite streaming service. What are you watching right now?
Right now, Ted Lasso.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you caught up?
Yeah, we're caught up.
Okay. How much of Ted Lasso's coaching techniques do you incorporate in your own
good
work?
question.
In our wall, in our offensive staff room, we have the belief sign right up.
No way.
Really?
That's awesome.
Is that an order? Is that a custom made?
My wife, Ashley, got us a calendar, and then also we just custom made one. Yeah.
Nice.
So
fantastic.
It's a great show.
That's really cool. All right. That's a better answer than we're ready for. Yeah.
There's so many more lessons in that show, really, if you really watch it. It's a cool one. Then we're watching The Shrinking as well.
It's a good show as well. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a good one.
What's
family.
What's
so you really
keeping in the Bill Lawrence family. What is your favorite lesson you've taken away from Ted Lasso?
I love the goldfish reference. The gold. We reference that with our players. Got to be like the goldfish of the shortest memories of all the animals, right? They say. So for good or for bad out there, how many times can we be a goldfish in terms of, hey, moving on, playing the next play? For good or for bad, how we can continue to do that. And then also just the connection of the people, and what makes that team great is their connection and their love and their bond. And to me, that's when you have good teams.
If I played for you, if I ever missed an assignment, I'd be like, well, coach, you said goldfish. I forgot. That's how I would win. But, that's why I'm not playing at Kentucky.
And then you get your butt ripped.
Exactly. Yeah.
Exactly. No, it's good. And I watch anytime I don't know what to watch, I'm watching, The Last Dance.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Liam, we really appreciate it. Thank you for joining the show. Good luck to you. We got to get The next time you guys have a big game, we got to get Jason Sudeikis to make a cameo in the Kentucky locker room. He's a Kansas fan, if I recall, but maybe we can get him some UK gear and get him to head over there. Just tell him that you guys are Britain's favorite college football team.
I appreciate it.
Thank you, Liam. Good luck to you this year, and we
Thanks so much.
appreciate you joining the show.
Absolutely, guys. I really appreciate you having me on.